What's important to me is that we have people serving those who have served. And so I don't say, hey, call this number or reach out to this web address. I call the person who is founded the organization in the space that they're in. And I'll be like, hey, brother, we've got so and so here. These are their needs. What can we do to help? And if they can't help, we retract. So now we planted the seed with that organization. We'll retract. We'll find another organization in our network, and we're constantly building relationships. And so I am confident we are 100% one of the best groups to reach out to in need of support because of the relationships we've built.
Mark, welcome to the Point of Impact. I'm so glad you're here. Was it Richard Kaufman had spoken so highly of you. I'm glad that he introduced us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. It's actually my honor to be here, and I'm humbled to be asked to come on here by the amazing Aaron. So I appreciate you, brother.
Well, you know what? I had a great time being a guest on your show with the People's Patriot Project. I got you 6 at 6. Now, that's a radio show and a podcast, or is that strictly a podcast?
So we're seen in a couple areas. We are actually on Rees Across America radio on 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. We do have our own radio station as well called WP3 Radio that plays only veteran and first responder music content. Like all the music's been created just by veterans. And so we haven't taken the next leap of putting our own show on our own radio station, but we had some amazing conversations this week. We got to be down here in Minnesota. There's an organization called MACV that does housing for homeless vets, and they did a stand down, the summer salute, and there's a local terrestrial radio station that has invited us into their space. So we'll be looking at putting our podcast and the content of our veteran and serving members and first responders on terrestrial radio at that time too. So lots of stuff going on.
Well, that's incredible. I actually am a bit of a musician artist myself. I do gangster rap with the kazoo. However, I don't think that's the proper genre you're looking for. Anyways,
well, we do have all genres on our radio, and so I'm excited. I mean, we need to get some of your tracks and get them up there because I think it'd be perfect. Aaron Hale, gangster rap on the kazoo.
I'll send you my demo reel.
Appreciate that.
Let's get back to you.
Okay.
But tell you, where you served in the military, right? Army?
14 years Army.
And how did you... first, where are you from? You kind of sound like a Western Canadian.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. Originally from Cody, Wyoming. Transplanted and been more boots on the ground and roots grown into Minnesota. So I spent a lot of time in Minnesota. I'm going to be real honest with you, Aaron. My service was kind of a thing that it was my service. I get people come by and they say, thank you for your service. And I graciously say thank you. But my service was my service. I enjoyed every minute of it. I had no deployments, and we were in the process of deploying when I did get out, and there were some things going on that kind of A, changed my life, B, I needed to pay more attention to, C, there was a family involved, and I absolutely do deal with some of that separation and survivor's remorse a little bit, but that is also another reason why the People's Patriot Project was put together and making sure that I had an opportunity to continue the mission. And so I don't got any shock and awe like real life experiences when it comes to my service. I was an artilleryman. I was with the 34th Division Red Bulls, and I worked in the headquarters battery, so I didn't get to see all the stuff and the conflict and theater that individuals such as yourself got to see.
I that had a bit of a, I don't know, challenge with that as well, because I started in the Navy, and I was a Navy cook, and people would say thank you for your service, or like I've flipped burgers, and but they say everybody's job's important, everybody serves a part of the big machine, but you know I worked my way up to serving an admiral in Italy, and cooking for a 3-star is definitely not a hardship duty.
No,
So it
no.
wasn't exactly like service, but yeah. Uh,
Well, and
every job,
I
the admiral's gotta be fed. He's got to get those nutrients, right? Uh, the headquarters staff needs to push that paper.
well, and my role wasn't like I mean, I worked directly with like the upper command sergeant major for the 34th Division Red Bulls, and I kind of worked as a liaison. But you're right, it is the leadership piece that does need to be have in place, and there does need to be pieces and conversations, and there does need to be your lower soldiers held accountable and accountability. And unfortunately, that's the role that they put me in. I think it was because of my education background, and because I'm a school teacher by day, even now. And in theory, I got 4 years till I retire from that gig. We'll see how it works.
Your educational background. What did you study? You also played football in college.
Absolutely, yeah. My first degree in college was psychology. I I was in psychology when we had issues in America, like Andrea Yates drowning her 5 kids in the bathtub, and David Koresh and his compound down in Waco.
Hmm.
And me being a country boy from Cody, Wyoming, I couldn't and don't figure and can't figure out some of the voices in your head kind of conversations. And that's me having the real conversation. So I, although I think I'm good in the counseling spectrum, I'm not necessarily good in the, to say cowboy up is not probably an effective counseling model. And so it's a model I use with my very own kids. It's a model I use kind of at school. It works when you know me and have built a relationship. But the big picture, I'm not going to help someone that has voices in their head. I don't get and understand those pieces. So I did have the privilege of playing football on all levels across the world. Um, my pro experience wasn't in the NFL, and so I mean, want to be clear in that. I had the opportunity. I did work for the Minnesota Vikings for a minute, doing things other than playing football. And I think if I wanted to take that step, I could have, but I was kind of focused on my mission, and my mission at that time in life was helping youth. And so I was building residential treatment centers. My goal was to help youth at that level. And again, I was still finishing up my career in the military, and was also then I decided to become a school teacher while we were doing all this.
And how did the that psychiatry background, how did that help you? Or what did you? How did that? I guess how did that form your perspective of military service?
You know, I'll be real honest. I was a hothead coming out of high school. I was an angry man, and I had no problem using hands. I had no problem using my mouth. And I think it ended up kind of calming myself. I was able to have different conversations with myself and say, is this the hill you're going to die on? And I get to have that conversation with many people throughout the week. Is like, there's bigger and better things for us to be worrying about. Finding a focus, finding a redirection, be able to self help, being able to, hey, listen to your needs. Even during our show, we do something called check six. And the first step in checking six is checking yourself, checking your own back, being able to do your whole body pat down, making sure you're checking your mind. And if you're not in that space, then maybe if you can't figure it out on your own, maybe it's time to bring a battle buddy in to help you with that perspective, or even
Hmm.
professional help, or just being able to lay it down in real world, in real words with real perspective, and realize that what it's okay not to be okay. I don't practice that for myself very much because I'm pretty hard on myself. So it's like, what do I have to do? Uh, Part of our mission is that we help our veterans and first responders with the silent, deadly, and invisible enemies. And sometimes it's having that real conversation. What do I have to do to be battle ready? And some of our men and women today are fighting a battle that doesn't get to be seen and has no physical outward scars. And so to be able to coach myself through some of those pieces helps assure me that I can coach other people through those pieces.
I am constantly talking to myself out loud sometimes, and often worrying others. Uh, was it the Jack Handy? You're good enough. You're smart enough.
Yeah,
Gosh darn it, people like you. I stand in front of the mirror. I'm not actually looking at anything, but I'm imagining me looking back. You are the master of all time, space, and dimension, and you can resist another slice of pizza. Uh,
truth,
but
truth.
yeah, definitely use the self talk to check in with myself and say, okay, time to get off your ass and do something. Um,
Absolutely.
but that's let's see. You so wait, being with that kind of background and playing football, you must have been a lineman. The backs aren't that smart.
I actually was a tight end and a fullback and an outside linebacker. I was a little bit smaller going into a college, going into the military. Coming out of a high school, I weighed 167 pounds.
Wow.
It didn't take them long to get me up to 240, which that's where they wanted me at playing weight. And so I spent most of my time around 280, and I'm well over that now. But I'm not probably going to see playing weight ever again.
I went to Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and I left. I left high school at 195. I didn't play football in college. I played lacrosse, and I made it up to 225. But that was all beer weight, so not good. Not good. It was
I
a. I actually, after college, I did join the Navy. I dropped to 165.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how much beer weight and pizza weight. But so you when did you also join the fire service, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Right after I ETS, I needed something else. My brain doesn't sit well idle, and I wanted to do something to help the community, and so I joined our local volunteer fire department. Um, went excelled through the ranks real quick, became an officer, just because of I'm going to say my work ethic and my ability again to spend time in the book and learn all the pieces of fire service. And so I did that for a period of time, and then the thoughts of the People's Patriot Project came to my mind through fire service, and that's kind of I can't do all things, and so I had to step away from that to make sure the mission got rolling.
When did the People's Patriot Project come along? Like, when did that idea come out?
Yeah.
It's not just a podcast. It's a 501c3. You're a veteran service organization, right?
We had no plans to be doing a podcast at all. So in 2012, I started to put it on the paper, got it rolling. I held the concept of the People's Patriot Project to my heart really close and didn't do anything with it until 2018. And the whole time I'm having this, again, self talk, this conversation, I said, you have these ideas, you have this plan, you want to help, and we're still losing 6,000 plus veterans a year to suicide. You're not helping anybody. And the numbers within the EMS or the first responder world match or might even be higher. But the unfortunate piece is in that world, other than the fire department and police department, when you get into the volunteer world, all those numbers kind of get skewed into your general population. And so there's no real factual way to get the numbers of people that are attempting and being successful with suicide in the first responder world. So I'm sitting at a teacher conference, and some people know that I'm working on this. And I had about a team. I had a team of about 5 teachers. I'm like, well, let's just do this. Let's get it done. And so in 2018, we fully launched. We filed our 501c3, put all the paperwork in line, got everything done, and we had planned to specifically work the area of Minnesota. And Minnesota is it's a different culture than a gigantic portion of the world that I've lived in before, and being in the world of a teacher, that culture is a little bit different as well. But it also allows me to see perspectives and see both sides of, I call it both sides of the dice, so to speak, because if you understand that the sum of 2 sides of a dice always equals 7, then you can gather more information and realize that there's some pieces. That's a lesson that I teach my students. That sometimes your perspective is not the only perspective, and just because you have different perspectives doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you're seeing different things and you're focused on different things, and that focus is based on your education sometimes as well. Who has taught you and what they've taught you. Anyway, um,
It's very that was very politic of you. That was quite diplomatic. And no, there is no other perspective than my own. And
fair
anybody
enough.
else, any other perspective that doesn't join me is offensive and incorrect.
Okay. What do you do in that moment of offense?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. What do you do in those moments of being offended?
Well, let me tell you that. So, People's Patriot Project. It took a little while. It was this brainchild forming in your mind. You finally pulled the trigger, and it started off as a kind of a local thing. But what would the mission be?
So our flagship mission is to have a one-stop shop facility. It kind of looks like a lakeside resort where people can come. It was focused on originally the fire department, the volunteer firefighters. A lot of volunteer firefighters provide the resources for their local fire department. They're paying for their own PPE. They're paying for their own training. They're paying for apparatus. They're paying for the brick and mortar. They do that out of their pocket because they want to make sure their community is intact and that it's safe. And we spend a lot of time in my backyard burning hot dogs and drinking adult beverages, and that's some of the only relief some of our firefighters were getting. And I'm like, they need more than this on occasion.
Mm.
We're an EMS fire department where we're seeing, literally traumas on the road and pulling sometimes, unfortunately, sadly, bodies out of burnt buildings. And these firefighters are seeing the stuff, as much stuff as sometimes the combat field in a theater. And so it was important for me to try to put together, and we're still working at it, a facility where everyone can come, nothing's coming out of their back pocket, and they can take a break, whether it's with them, their family, or their team, and create a space that they can train, create a space that they can relax, create a space that has all the tools they can do. I mean, how awesome. I have this vision of walking down this little grassy knoll down to the lake where we have a bunch of boats tied up and some guys playing the guitar at the fire pit, and you can stop and grab a Bloody Mary on your way down to go fishing with you or your family or your buddies. And it just, the smell of, the simple things, the smell of cut grass, the smell of the rain, the smell of just life, being able to take that step back and not worry about, the rush of the city or the rush of the community. So that's the vision. That's the focus. That's what we tried doing. And then that nasty little bug came flying around in 2020. Our team, all teaching in different places, were now Zooming to their students. And we were hearing on the news all the bad things that were happening, how depressed everyone was. Well, we already knew our country, our world, our veterans, our first responders are predisposed to a little bit of depression. And so I wanted to make sure that there's a stopping place for people to come in and talk about what they're doing. So we created a virtual happy hour on Friday nights that veterans could come into, first responders could come in, and we just have conversations. Now, I'm really good friends with Adam Bird. Adam Bird runs Heroes Media Group, and they have many, many, many podcasts on their show. Well, Adam Bird came on my board all the way back in 2014 and was helping, supporting, and was advising how we should get this done. And I had no desire to do a podcast. But now we're sitting here doing a live Zoom on Friday nights talking about what's in the cup. I started inviting musicians that I was finding online. Tony Turner was one of our first ones. He was playing Simple Man down in Alabama. And I said, hey, what do you think about coming on Friday night and playing your music? He goes, oh, I can do that.
After these messages, we'll be right back. I'd like to thank the sponsor of this episode, Extraordinary Delights, EODFudge.com. Extraordinary Delights is a disabled veteran, family-owned small business making handcrafted fudge and other sweet treats for the chocolate-loving patriots just like you. Go to EODFudge.com and check out some of our delicious flavors like triple threat chocolate with or without walnuts, mint dark chocolate, strawberry and creamy white chocolate, or my personal favorite, American Pick-Me-Up, an all-American version of tiramisu. While you're there, go to the apparel store and check out our awesome t-shirts, polos, and the baddest tactical apron on the market. You see me wear on the TikTok show, Aaron Hale's Cook Without Looking. So, right now, go over to EODFudge.com and pick out some fudge, other sweet treats for that patriot in your life with a sweet tooth. That's EODFudge.com. EODFudge.com. And now, back to the show. I was going to ask you about that. How did the music play a part in this? Was this just something, if I'm gonna have a show, I'm gonna also have some of my favorite music on, or how did the idea come about?
Absolutely. So as I was sitting there, I realized that we kind of have a Tonight Show feature. And I'm like, well, why don't we make that? Why don't we make a live stream that has music for entertaining? I don't think anyone will argue with me that music feeds your soul. Doesn't matter what you listen to. Everyone listens. I would argue I'm sure someone can deny this, but I'm pretty sure everyone listens to at least some musical content every day of their life. I'm assuming. Um, so that it feeds. And when you got veterans and first responders that are creating content that is talking about their experience in theater, talking about their experiences with their traumas. And it's not all of them, but they have the stories. They're telling the story about what veterans have experienced. They're telling stories about what first responders have experienced. We got Stephen John, who has just a simple song out there called Life is Good. Absolutely phenomenal song. Has nothing to do with war, has nothing to do with trauma. It just, life is good. And many of the musicians that we've brought on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just something I was willing to invest in. Currently, we have WP3 Radio that has over 213 veteran and first responder musicians from across the country. Many of them are national recording artists. Many of them have, music videos out. They have their songs out. They're on Spotify. They're on iHeartRadio. And so we have built relationships with these guys. So, kind of back to the curation of this, I never wanted to build content. I build content being a school teacher. I didn't want to build more content. So, some of the questions that would come into us when people were reaching out for support was, "Oh my gosh, you answered the phone." And I'm like, "Yeah, tell me more." And they're like, "Well, I've contacted this organization and they don't get back to me. They didn't call me back. They didn't email me back. And this other organization sent me a postcard. The postcard doesn't, feed my family. It doesn't help me with my PTSD. It doesn't help me with my alcoholism, military sexual trauma." And I'm like, "Oh." So we quickly put it in our bylaws that we would be here to cut the fluff.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, we have roughly 58,000 organizations in our country that says that they're helping veterans and first responders. I don't have accurate data but sitting where I sit and having the conversations that I have, I don't even think 10% of those organizations are getting the job done. So that means 5,800 of them still aren't getting the job done. And we're still losing 6,000 plus. Some say 76 veterans a day. Some, depending on what number. People want to argue whether it's 22 a day. Some people want to say it's less than 22. I don't get caught up in those numbers, because the reality is the numbers we're seeing is too many, period. And so we decided we would bring boots on the ground organizations onto the show so they could share their mission. That was, again, one of the reasons you're an all-star in the world of veteran service and coming back and continue the mission. And I was like, well, we got to get Aaron Hale on. And again, you're right. We've got great friends in the network, that Richard Kaufman, who made that connection for us. And we appreciate Richard, and we love what he's doing and the work that he's doing. And we just keep trudging forward and trying to be the tip of the spear.
You make a great point about all of the veteran service organizations out there. I mean, anybody can create a 501c3, just like they can create an LLC or anything else, an entity. But not all of these organizations, not all nonprofits are created equal. Some of them do some really good work. Some of them
Absolutely.
are monsters. They're huge, but maybe they're more of a marketing business than anything else. Not to be specific, but it was
Yeah.
one that made quite a bit of news back, was it 2014? Not to be named, has a logo
Yeah.
of a guy with another guy, fireman carry. Anyways, uh, so it's hard to know. if one organization is even one has the mission that will serve a particular need, and then two, if they are any good at fulfilling that mission. So sometimes you kind of need a clearinghouse or it's some kind of a translator, a broker for some of these organizations. Uh,
100% with that statement. I agree.
yeah, and with all the veteran service organizations out there, all of the nonprofits, and you mentioned it earlier about the our civil protectors, the police, fire, medical, definitely in Minnesota. In the last few years, have been under quite a bit of pressure, quite a bit of stress. So, they had COVID, riots. It looks like we're having more riots, uh, protests, mostly peaceful. But in any sort of turmoil like that, it's the local protectors that are the ones that keep it contained, keep it organized, keep it safe. So uh, they deserve just as much thanks and just as much help when necessary. So it's good to have organizations such as yours that kind of cut through some of that the noise, some of the confusion, cut out some of the useless organizations and try to find exactly what's necessary for the that particular need.
Well, the exciting part is because the way that we've created the format of the show, we've built relationships with these boots on the ground organizations. So when an ask comes in, we now, for over the last 5 years, we're on episode 257 on our Sunday show, and we're on episode 218 on our Monday show. Um, because we've built these relationships with boots on the ground organizations across the country, when we can't facilitate the ask, we can reach out to these other organizations and they might be local to them. And so we've created a network of, we're a conduit. We can help people because of the relationships we've built. And there's a great organization down in Texas called Operation Texas Strong. They give RVs to homeless vets down in the southern states. We partnered with them probably 4 years ago, and so when someone reaches out to us and they say, we don't have a roof over our head, and I'm like, well, do you have a means? Can we get you to a space where there would be a roof over your head? It's not going to be a 5 bedroom, rambler that you're going to have, 16 acres or anything like that, but we can get you into a place where you'll be comfortable. Um, you don't have to worry about freezing. You don't have to worry about being wet. You don't have to worry about all these pieces. And the cool part is a lot of these RVs end up being in parks or a community that are other veterans. And so they ended up being able to help each other. The Joey McNutt Foundation in Southern America, South, I can't remember if it's Alabama or Mississippi down there in that area. They're building a veteran community with RVs, and so they've been in the network. We've given away RVs in Florida. We've given away RVs in South Carolina, where it's more. I don't think it's going to work in Minnesota because of our winters. That's a whole nother monster that we'd have to deal with. But if people are willing to relocate, we can get them a home in the southern parts of the United States.
So you think you're going to be moving out of Minnesota, or how do you plan to join me down in the South?
So we do have a chapter down in Louisiana. Jonathan Crochet has a team of WP3 people down in Louisiana. I love that space down there, and I think it's because of the food. But I love they did an event there last March, and we went down there and had an absolutely amazing time and connected with thousands of veterans while we were down there, and there's an amazing team down there that Jonathan has put together. So
That's terrific. Let me ask you a little bit more about the mission. Let's say,
yeah,
who is it? If they who's your customer? Like, if somebody has a problem, an issue, a need of some sort, uh, who can you serve, and how can you best serve them? How would they know who, like, you would be their first call?
sure. So we don't do referrals. So that's one of the things that we've always done really well with because of our network. Anybody, we're a one-stop shop. Anybody can contact us. And because of our relationships across the country, if
Mm-hmm.
we can't do it, I know someone that can do it. And so I don't care if you're wearing the crest, our green crest, our beacon green. That's not important to me. What's important to me is that we have people serving those who have served. And so I don't say, hey, call this number or reach out to this web address. I call the person who is founded the organization in the space that they're in. And I'll be like, hey, brother, we've got so and so here. These are their needs. What can we do to help? And if they can't help, we retract. So now we planted the seed with that organization. We'll retract. We'll find another organization in our network, and we're constantly building relationships. And so, I am confident we are 100% one of the best groups to reach out to in need of support because of the relationships we've built. Um, I don't take ownership of this. WP3 doesn't take ownership. We're not territorial. We are 100% collaborative. We want to make sure. You know what? Here's the truth is about 90% of the people that reach out to us for support just want to know someone else is on the other side of the phone. That's all they want to have a conversation. They want to, do we have some that are in crisis? Absolutely. We can take care of the crisis pieces. I'm hungry. All right. We have an ask down in Louisiana recently. We've helped a couple months in a row. The guy just wants to make sure his kid has diapers. He's got a young baby in the house, and so we've been footing the bill for the diapers and the formula for that family for a minute. Are there other programs they could reach out to? Yeah, they reach out to us, and it doesn't. A couple $100 a month to pay for diapers is not. And if this veteran would have came to us,
Well, the technical glitch right there is a perfect way, the perfect place to segue into our final segment, the countdown to impact. This is three, two, one. Three books, two quotes or lessons someone's taught you, or one book or I'm sorry, one person who's all made an impact in your life. Three books, two quotes, one person.
3 books, 2 quotes, one person. So one of the things that happens, we get sent many books from authors that want to know about what we're doing, or not what we're doing, what their mission. And so I very seldom get a chance to sit down and read a book. That is something I need to force myself to do. What I will do is this last weekend we had Mr. Brennan Morton come on, recon sniper in Iraq, and he
Mm-hmm.
sent us Baha'u'llah Boys, and he tells the story. This book is written in a way that comes a self help book with regards to his mission, how he did. Here's a guy that is a Marine sniper that is raising a 10-year-old girl right now, and I'm like, how does that Marine um, relate to a 10-year-old girl? Because regardless of what he saw on the battlefield, he's got to come back and raise that family. And the 10-year-old girl he shared has asked some of the tough questions, and he's openly said, you know what, she's not ready to hear some of the answers to those questions. And so again, just having the ability to know. We have. I'm trying to find them. I have a whole library of books standing behind me. So um, this last weekend, oh, here we go. Miss Kim Gwinner, if you like poetry and want to learn more about specifically military sexual trauma, Miss Kimmer has no problem sharing the things that she dealt with and experienced in her life. Um, and she is a survivor of military sexual trauma. And her poetry is very eloquent at times and very dark at other times, only because she's getting the story about what she's had to experience and go through and battle through. And um, that is one of the pieces that I won't say struggle with, but one of our very first guests that was on WP3, nope, we got your 6 at 6, um, was a male sleeping under his truck in his driveway as his wife is continuing to have a relationship with another man in their home, and he's homeless, but that's what he has. And one of the pieces he struggled with was military sexual trauma in being raped while he was in the military. And I have just been like in awe of the amount of military sexual trauma that exists in our service and with our service members. Um, I'm kind of off on a tangent, but that is one of the pieces that you'll find in Miss Kimmer's books. And that this last week, we, so, I'm dropping everything. Um, Here in Minnesota, we have two Vietnam veterans that came up with Veterans in Crisis. And I just got their most recent book this last week at the MACV Summer Salute. But Dr. Steve Lansing and Colonel Wayne Quest has some amazing content out there. A to B, all the things from Vietnam to now. These guys are pushing 80, and they're out running around carrying boxes of books to make sure veterans get the supports that they need. You'll be seeing them on our show here soon in the next couple of months. But that's Veterans in Crisis. There's our 3 books.
That's great.
What's
All
what's
right.
my number 2?
Quotes.
2 quotes. Oh, that's going to be. I keep it simple in this area. Even when I got my master's in education, they wanted me to put a quote down. And this is as simple as life gets. And it's my favorite quote. Plant beans, get beans. That's it. It's as simple as it gets. You have nothing to blame anybody else. What you put in the ground, what you reap what you sow, brothers and sisters. That's it. I don't have another quote sitting on my brain right now, just so you know. I think social media has broken my brain when it comes to quotes because I always look for those amazing nuggets. And I know there's a lot of trash on social media, but I enjoy the moments that I find the quotes that make me a better person, and I focus on those. And I'm constantly doing screenshots. My phone is full of do better, be better kind of comments and quotes. So I won't come up with a second one for you today.
It's like jokes for me. I can only remember about 3 jokes, and each time I remember, each time I learn a new one, I forget one. So I'm right there with you. However, the social media thing, I think I learned one of my favorite quotes from a meme, and maybe one day the story of your struggle may be the blueprint for someone else's survival, and I can't dislodge that from my brain. And I learned that from social media. So add one to the positive on social media.
Here is the most recent one. Here's the one that's most recent that I captured. Somebody asked me. Somebody asked me what I am doing to do what. Somebody asked me what I am going to do when I make it to the top. I said, reach my hand back down for the rest. That is, for me, what the People's Patriot Project is all about. And so that little quote, that little story, that little notion, um, I'm going to reach back. What are you going to do when you get to the top?
All right. And one person who's made an impact in your life, it does not have to be the number one person. I know everybody hems and haws about this. You're going to piss off everybody else. So,
I need to have one person. I'm going to go with a conversation, and this will be kind of weird and out there only because it was meaningful and it was endearing. And in 1997, I'm standing in the spillway carrying and taking the Minnesota Viking players out of the stadium after a football game. And Randall Cunningham is standing there next to me. And he looks at me and he goes, "You think they hate me?" And I'm like, "Mr. Cunningham, I don't hate you." And the reality is, if we're finding a way to hate over a game, then we need to find another business to do. But he was so impacted by the fact that they lost this. I don't even know who they were playing that day, but to actually take a moment to reach out to a guy standing in the hallway, do you think they hate me? And I'm just like, I think we run into that conversation more than we need to in life. And I don't think we should reflect so much on what other people think, other than what do you think? What are you getting done for you? Again, what are you going to do when you get to the top? That was my random for the day.
great point. Well, Mark, I really appreciate your time and sharing that and all the efforts you're giving towards our service members and first responders. So, thank you. Where can others go to support you, find the show? Where do they go?
Yeah, it's long. It's as simple as thepeoplespatriotproject.org. You spell out the People's Patriot Project. There's no apostrophe on the S, but .org. That's where you'll find all the places, the spaces. Our big push is Facebook because it seems to be the easiest, but we're on every platform. Our show is also put on Rumble. Um, I know that's the naughty word for Facebook, but that's is what it is, man. It gives us an open access to people that want to have real conversations. We do have a YouTube channel, the People's Patriot Project YouTube channel, and anything with WeP3, we try to get there. We do ask people that if you like good music that you've not heard before. I know that when you listen to terrestrial radio and stuff like that, you get to hear the exact same song every hour on the hour kind of thing. We've got about 4,700 hours of listening material that was created just by veterans and first responders on WeP3 radio. And it's that simple. Just type in WeP3 radio. It's the first thing that'll come up on your search, and give it a listen. It's some of them are great stories of just life, and some of them are the battle ready stories of the stuff that people have been trying to fight through and get through. And so all the messages are there.
Is that the People's Patriot Project.org or
Yes.
just okay? So
Yes.
THE in the beginning. All right,
Yes.
folks, we're going to get that into the show notes along with the other links. Folks, appreciate you tuning in. That's the show. Before you tune out, open a tab in your server right now, your browser, and type in the People's Patriot Project.org. You don't have to, don't have to navigate it right now. Just open it up and, check it out. Also, go to, right after this show, go to the People's Patriot Project on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe. Okay? And Mark, thank you very much once again.
It's an honor, brother.